Welcome to another edition of the RF Video Shoot Interview Series. Today we're joined by a true legend in the sport of professional wrestling, Carlos Colon. Thanks for being here today with us.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. I want to talk about your growing up. I believe you were born in Santa Isabel on the southern coast of Puerto Rico, and then you, I guess, moved over to Brooklyn, New York with your parents. And
Manhattan.
Manhattan?
Yeah.
When you were about 13, right?
13 years old, yes.
So were you a wrestling fan growing up?
Yeah, when I came to New York, I was 13 then, and I started watching the Vince McMahon Sr.'s wrestling, and that's when I became a fan.
At age
13, yeah.
Okay. So who were some of the guys that you grew up watching on WWF?
Buddy Rogers, my idol. You know, growing up, he was my favorite wrestler. The Tolos brothers, the Kangaroos, Skull Murphy, Brooke Bernard, Carl Van Hess, Cowboy Bob Ellis, Dory Dixon, Miguel Perez, and a whole bunch more.
So you used to go to the house shows in New York at all?
At the Garden. I used to go once a month.
Wow.
Every 4 Mondays they go to the Garden. And I always made sure I got money to go and watch the...
So basically, at what age did you say, hey, I want to do this, I want to become a professional wrestler? Is this something that you wanted to do from an early age?
Yeah, around 13 and a half I started training because my brother went to school with a kid that his father was a wrestler in Colombia. And he got him interested, and I used to go with him to watch Barbaroja's gym. He's the one that trained Pedro Morales and Victor Rivera. And he had a gym on 42nd Street. And a lot of the professional wrestlers used to go there and train, you know, with the weights.
Right.
And Barbaroja had a school there as well, a wrestling school. And I became a member of the school when I was 13 and a half.
And you pretty much, I guess you paid your dues by helping clean up the place?
Yeah, I did, yeah, because a lot of time I didn't have the money to pay my, my dues monthly, so I would help out, cleaning the place and that.
So at what age did you actually start training to be a wrestler? Was it early on?
With him, it was a very slow process. He didn't let you, like nowadays, you see a kid go into a wrestling school and in 6 months he's already wrestling, championship matches. With Barbaroja, he did it, it was 3 months just lifting weights. And then there was another 3 months learning how to fall. And you did nothing but falls. If he ever caught you trying to throw a drop kick or do things, without his supervision, you get hell.
Right, exactly. For you early on, taking the bumps and learning how to take bumps, was that more difficult for you than learning the psychology of the business? I mean,
no, the psychology is definitely the hardest part of the sport, really.
Right.
And nobody can teach you that. Only time.
Right.
It comes with time.
So were you ever discouraged at a young age when you started taking bumps? Did you ever say to yourself, hey, maybe this isn't for me, or is this...
Well, with Barbaroja, he brought you up the hard way. And I had my ankle broken once.
Right.
And that put me out for about 6 months. And, I thought about it. And that's when I really decided that this is what I wanted to do for the rest of my life.
Right. All right, talk about your training. What was a typical week like for you when you started training?
Well, I used to go to junior high school at that time, so I get out of school at 3 o'clock, and then I would go over there by 4, and I wouldn't get home till about 9 o'clock.
Wow.
It was 4 or 5 hours every day, and I enjoyed it. I wish we had longer hours because, I enjoyed it so much.
Right, right. So how long was it before you started actually wrestling your debut match, as far as like the training went? You trained for...
Well, in that school with Barbaroja, he had matches for the older guys that knew how to wrestle then. And he used to run them every Sunday. So it took me about a year. About a year, I was 14, and I was, participating in the weekly cards that he used to run.
Would you consider him your mentor?
Yeah, my mentor. Yeah, my everything. He's the best trainer, in wrestling that I've ever seen.
And I believe your very first match, your debut, was against Bobo Brazil?
No, Hobo.
Hobo?
At that time, Tony Santos Promotions in Boston.
Okay.
They used to run, and Jack Pfeffer was his partner. So he liked to copy everything Vince McMahon did up in New York.
Right.
So they had a Bruno Sammartino. Instead of Sammartino, it was Sam Nartino. Huh. His real name was Pancho Rosario.
Wow.
And I was Prince Cucuya, because at the time Vince had a big, Curtis Ayukia.
Right.
He was in New York, so he he called me Prince Kukuya.
It was a Hawaiian gimmick, right?
Yeah, it was an islander, more like Jamaica, but the name was named after Aikea.
Okay. Now, from that period of time, you worked a lot of other independent shows or companies. What are some of the other companies?
No, they weren't like now. Like I only worked for him because he was very strict. If you were one of his students, you couldn't be running around, wrestling for these outlaw promoters.
Okay.
So I stayed there till I went to Boston and broke in at 17 for Tony Santos.
Okay. And then eventually you moved to Canada, to Montreal.
Montreal, yeah, in '79. I went to Montreal.
Is that where you met your wife, Nancy? Or
Yeah, my wife, I met her there.
did you work at all in any of the territories in Canada? I know you worked
for Stu Hart, in and out for 5 years.
I'm going to talk about that coming up, definitely. So, and then you regularly worked for WWF in 1968 and 69 as a lower card guy, correct?
Yeah, the TV guy.
Right. You worked with Johnny Rods?
Johnny Rods,
And
Pete Sanchez.
What are some of your memories about working those guys?
Thomas Marriott. Oh, great. Yeah, great guys, yeah.
Memories about Gorilla Monsoon?
Monsoon, too. He helped us a lot. I used to wrestle him a lot in handicap matches.
Easy to get along with outside the ring?
Yeah, he was a good guy, yeah.
Obviously,
We were
later
good
on
friends.
down the line, you became partners.
Yeah, partners and good friends, yeah.
We'll talk about that coming up. What are some of your memories of, your early memories of Lou Albano?
Oh, Albano, he was a great guy, too. He was crazy, yeah. I love Lou.
Big time partier outside the ring?
Yeah, we traveled a lot because, I didn't have a car, so we traveled with Arnold Skaaland to Washington, D.C. every Thursday for TV.
Right.
And Lou Albano was always along.
Drinking and stuff like that.
Yeah. So when we come back, he always get a 12-pack of beer, and he was a party guy.
Now, around this period of time for WWF, when you were working in that territory in the late 60s, what are some of the territories, like where on the East Coast would you work? What were some of the towns?
For the WWF?
For WWF, besides New York.
Boston, all over Jersey. Pennsylvania, Scranton.
Right.
Allentown, Hamburg, Maryland. We used to go to Baltimore, and Manassas, Virginia, Bangor, Maine, Augusta, Maine, Portland, Maine, all those towns. Springfield, Mass.
Any towns stick out as being some of your favorites to go to early on?
No, my favorite was the Garden.
The Garden?
That was a best payday.
Right. What was it like working the Garden for the very first time for you, being that the mecca?
Oh, it was a dream come true. That's a dream for most athletes.
Right, right.
Boxers, basketball players. That's the most famous arena in the world.
Were you nervous first time going?
Yeah, very nervous. Yeah.
What are your memories about Baron McGill Cicluna?
I had great matches with him. I learned a lot from him. Good guy.
The original Sheik. Memories of the original Ed Farhad.
Ed Farhad, I didn't wrestle him much. Maybe once or twice in New York when he came in to wrestle Bruno. I wrestled him on TV a couple of times.
Easy to get along with?
Yeah, the matches with him were very short.
Right.
Yeah.
Killer Kowalski. You worked with Killer Kowalski.
Yeah, a great in-ring performer. One of the best villains I ever worked against and I ever seen.
Thunderbolt Patterson. You worked with Thunderbolt.
Very talented young fellow.
Good guy.
Yeah.
What was like working for Vince McMahon Sr.?
Oh, he was a gentleman. He was a very, very nice person to work for. And he was straight. He always tell you the truth. If he didn't have anything for you, he'd tell you.
Right.
Yeah.
He always give you the handshake with the money too at the end of the night, right?
Yeah.
The Vince McMahon handshake.
Yeah. He's one of the true gentlemen in the business.
Did you know Vince Jr. at the time when you were there? Was he still coming up as the announcer at ringside? Or
No.
was he not even in the business yet?
When he became involved in the business, I was already
you were gone.
in Puerto Rico. Yeah.
Okay. I guess also Pedro Morales was there. He joined the WWF in 1970.
Yeah, he also worked for us in Puerto Rico.
Okay. Before that, when he got the big push as I guess it was at the he became champion obviously at the Intercontinental Champion at one point. Do you think if you stayed in the WWF longer that you would have had his spot and maybe been champion or?
I don't know. I never thought of that because at that time the old man liked to feature Big Ben,
Right.
And I was 5'10" and a half, 5'11", 230 pounds. I wasn't very big at the time.
What were your plans? I mean, for your goals at this period of time? Did you?
My goals is what I really became. You know, to become a promoter in my own island, Puerto Rico.
So you knew that in the back of your mind that eventually you would want to.
That's what I really hoped for. You know, and it was hard at the time because I didn't have the money. And to be a promoter anywhere, you need some money.
Right.
But thank God, you know, I was able to fulfill that dream.
Okay. We'll definitely talk about that coming up. What was your opinion on Pedro Morales? Did you like him as a worker? Or as
yeah, so I was a fan of his. You know, I like his work.
So you always got along with him?
And I got along with him. He's a tremendous person.
Talk about the very first time you met Abdullah Butcher. Would that be in Montreal?
In Montreal the first time, yeah. When he came to the territory, I was already there.
Right.
So he came up to my room and he asked me, well, you know, everybody when you go to a new territory, you want to know what's going on,
right?
Who's here, and I told him, you know, everything he needed to know.
What were your impressions of him? Did you like him as a person?
Well, I always thought and still think that Abdullah was one of the greatest drawing cards in our sport. He's the only guy that could get over and fill an arena with 2 times on TV.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, and that you know, when he was young, 40 years ago, wow. You just bring him to your TV and you got to sell out at night if you have a show.
Right. We'll talk about Abby because you used him a lot down in the islands. Coming up, we'll talk about him. You also worked for Stu Hart.
Stu Hart, yes, I learned a lot with him.
What are your memories about Stu Hart?
Oh, it was great. I love the territory, you know. Even though it was very cold, and I come from a warm climate,
right?
The Caribbean, but there it was just something about the territory that you know that you love.
Right.
And I would stay a year or two, and I leave, and I said I'll never come back. And in 6 months, I was back there again.
What was Stu Hart like as a promoter? Let's talk about Stu. Was he very tough, or?
No, well, if you did your job and you work hard, he was very nice. He was very nice to me. I don't have anything bad to say about him. He paid me well. He treated me well. And he ran a good territory, you know.
Did you have a good spot in his company when you were there?
Yeah, I was on top there for 5 years. I was one of his main stars, as he called me.
What are your memories of his kids? Early on, when they were just...
Oh, I know them all. They were all good kids. They're all different, you know.
Right.
But they're nice guys, yeah.
What about his wife, Helen?
I knew her. I met her a few times, but when I was there, you know, you didn't see much of her.
Right.
She stayed home most of the time, and I never went to the dungeon. You know, I was there 5 years, and I never went there except, you know, once in a while to meet him, to go to Edmonton or some town.
Right.
Yeah.
What were the drives like in Calgary? Because we've done interviews with guys in the past, and they always talk about the long road trips.
They were long trips, but I enjoyed them. It was, you know, good roads, and we all had a 6-pack coming back, so it was fun, you know.
Now, pretty much the drives there were really brutal because of the weather and stuff like that.
Sometimes the winter time was brutal, yeah. But
is it true that sometimes you would have to drive over lakes that were frozen over to get different towns?
I never had to do that.
Okay.
But we had to drive, you know, on roads that you couldn't see, you know. They call it whiteout.
Right.
Where the field on the road was all one, you didn't know where you were going.
Oh, that's crazy.
But I was lucky to always ride with the booker, the late Dave Rule, may God rest his soul, and he was one of the greatest drivers I've ever seen.
Now, I was going to ask you about that. There's a story that goes around that you were driving, I believe, from Medicine Hat to Saskatoon in October of '72, and I guess you felt sick or something like that. You wanted him to roll down the window and...
No, it was from Medicine Hat to Saskatoon, yeah.
What exactly happened in that car ride?
Well, it was, you know, we had a few beers and we got into an argument and you know, got a little fight and he fell and banged his head, and that was the end of his career.
That was pretty much it?
I regret that, yeah. I always, you know, when I think about that, I feel bad.
Did, did you guys make up after that, or was it pretty much...
No, I never saw him again after that, but I felt very bad, and I wanted to see him to apologize, but I never had the opportunity.
Now, I believe Abby was also up in Calgary, and
yeah.
You guys had your first series of bloody matches up there. It drew very well.
Very well, yeah.
What are your memories of working with Abby in Calgary Stampede?
Oh, great, yeah, because Abby was in his prime. He only weighed like 280.
Right.
And he moved like a cat. He could run backwards faster than most guys can run forward.
Did you see the potential in him? Did you think he was going to be a huge box office? Did you know right
Oh,
away?
he was already box office then, even then, you know.
Right.
It was a shame. I always told him that he never had the opportunity to work in New York.
Why did
Because he would have set all records there, I'm telling you. Knowing the fans there. I grew up there, so I know how the fans are.
Why do you think you never went to New York for Vince?
I don't know.
You think politics and
Maybe
he didn't like to be controlled, or
no, because he was easy. He worked for me, and you know,
right?
you know, you don't have to control anybody. You can do business without controlling, you know, the wrestlers.
Right. It seems to me Abby would have been a perfect fit in like the early '80s when Hogan was on top, and
Oh,
bring
yeah.
Abby in as the monster heel, and you know
They would have set all kinds of records, man.
without a doubt.
Really, because and he regrets that too, because Abby really wanted. That was one of his dreams. I was happy when I saw him getting the Hall of Fame, because that meant a lot to him.
Did he ever contact the office back then? WWE ever or WWF back then? Did they ever contact Abby about coming in at all, or
No, he would have gone.
he would have went in a heartbeat?
Yeah, if he would have heard that they were trying to get a hold of him, he would have driven there himself, because that was his dream. He wanted to work the Garden.
Wow. Do you think he had a bad reputation in the business at all for them?
I
not to
don't know.
call
I
him,
don't know.
or-
Maybe somebody about mouth him. I don't know. I really couldn't tell you, but they missed an opportunity to make big money with him,
Okay. From
because
there,
he drew money wherever he went. There's not one place that
right, exactly.
he went that didn't draw money.
Especially
Big money.
Right, in Japan as well too.
That's why in the Hall of Fame, Terry Funk talked about it, and he said, you know, wherever he went, he was box office.
I'm going to talk about Abby more in depth, especially for working for you down in Puerto Rico, and I want to talk to you about other stuff regarding him as well coming up. We'll talk about that coming up. From there, after Stu Hart's promotion, where did you go from there? Is that when you went to Puerto Rico and started up?
From there, yeah, I came. Yeah. I came to Ontario for the Bearman. You know him, right?
Who is it again?
The Bearman,
I'm not sure.
Dave McKinley.
No, go, you can tell. Definitely talk about it.
Yeah, he used to run in the summertime around Toronto. You know, the Ontario province.
Right.
And he used to use guys like Angelo Mosca, Bulldog Brower.
Right.
Yeah,
What are your memories of Angelo Mosca?
good memory. Yeah, good guy. Yeah,
Good guy.
yeah.
What about Bulldog Brower?
Yeah, he was a nice guy too. I got along with everybody in the business. I really can. I don't have any one that I can say that I didn't get along with.
Now, I believe you met Victor Jovica for the very first time in
In Calgary, yeah.
What are your memories of Victor?
Well, he's still my partner. We've been
Right, exactly.
in business together for almost 40 years.
Wow, that's a long period.
And he was the one that financed my dream. You know, I really appreciate what he did, because first of all, he didn't know me that well. He didn't know Puerto Rico, you know, he didn't know the language.
Right.
He was at my mercy, really. You know, he took all his money, all his savings. He sold all his properties, and he came to San Juan with me, and he let me, you know, run the show.
So let's talk about how the company started Capital Sports Promotions. You had a vision, you had a dream, and it's something that you wanted to do, and start up a company in Puerto Rico. Now, at this time, was there any other companies running the island at that time?
No, at that time, no. Florida Championship Wrestling used to run there before,
Right.
but it had been over a year, almost 2 years, that we didn't have any wrestling in the island. That's one of the reasons I decided to go then.
Now, I believe when you were talking about the Florida promoter, his name was Clarence.
Eddie Graham.
Oh, it was Eddie Graham who was running.
Yeah, Eddie, yeah.
Okay, I know Eddie. I didn't know if I have another name, Clarence Luteral. I don't know.
Cowboy Luttrell, you mean? They were partners.
Okay, they were partners.
Yeah,
He was
yeah.
partners with Eddie.
Eddie, yeah, he was blind, yeah.
Okay, and they were running there in the '60s, and they used a lot of NWA talent, I believe, right? But never used Puerto Rican wrestlers in a prominent role.
One or two, yeah.
Okay.
Well, we didn't have very many at the time, you know, that were professional enough to be part of, you know,
Right.
Florida Championship Wrestling. That was one of the best territories
Oh yeah.
in the world at the time.
Did you ever work for Eddie at all? For a
Yeah,
little bit?
in and out. I used to come from Puerto Rico and do matches for them a lot.
Who'd you work
When
with?
Dory Funk was booking,
Right.
when the late Wahoo McDonald's was booking.
Okay. What are your memories of Eddie Graham? Because
I
a lot
learned
of
a
people
lot.
say he's probably one of the best Finnish guys in the business.
Yeah, I learned a lot. I met him at his house about 2 or 3 times, and every time I went, I learned a ton.
What are some of the most valuable lessons that you've learned from Eddie Graham?
Well, how to run the business, you know, like he always believed in, you know, he didn't want a hot shot, and you know, just keep it basic, and it's true when you don't have all that crazy stuff, your territories last longer, and you do better business for a longer period of time.
Less is more, basically, or
Yeah, he's more basic kind of a guy, more wrestling holds,
right.
which is the name of the game.
Now you had mentioned that you were down there when Dory Funk Jr. was booking, right?
Yeah.
What are your memories of Dory Funk?
Great, yeah. Dory is one of the best technical wrestlers in the business. And then meetings with him and Eddie were, a lot of the guys wish they could spend an hour talking to those guys.
So you would just pretty much sit back and take it all in, and
I spent all day there with them. Yeah, and even though I had my successful business at the time,
right.
but it's never too late to learn. I learned more, talking to those guys.
Any other valuable lessons that you learned from Eddie Graham, especially? Or
Yeah, I learned a lot. Like I said, to run the business the way it should have been run, and he had a lot of common sense about life or everything.
When you came in for Eddie, did you work the loop, or did you come in just for TVs?
I do a couple of times. I come in on Monday, do West Palm, do the TV on Tuesday morning.
Right.
Work Tampa that evening, and do Miami and fly back from Miami, fly back to Puerto Rico.
Okay. Now, in Puerto Rico, you talked a little bit about teaming up with Victor Jovic and starting the company. How did Gorilla Monsoon get involved as well? Because I believe he was your partner too.
Yeah, he was.
Early
Yeah,
on.
we were friends from New York, and yeah.
So basically, how did everything come together, like to start up the company? You had the vision, and Victor had the money, and what was Gorilla Monsoon's role in this?
No, we just made him. He wanted to be part of our organization. We didn't need to sell anybody. We just wanted him to be with us because he wanted to be part of it.
Yeah. What year did it start? 1973, I believe.
73, we started the company. Yeah.
Who were some of the early talents that you brought in to start using at that point in time?
We used mainly guys that had the talent but never had the opportunity to work on top in anywhere. Like Rick Martel's brother,
Right.
Michelle, Frenchie Martin,
Okay.
and they used to go as the Martel brothers, Pierre Martel and Michelle Martel, and Gil Hayes from Calgary,
Right.
Don Ken, he's from Detroit, Al Costello, they were the Kangaroos for us, Kurt Van Hess, he was from Canada.
Right.
A lot of the new guys that I worked with when I was on the road that I knew had the talent to be on top, and I gave them the opportunity, and they drew big money for us.
Now, did you have TV right away off the bat?
Yeah,
or-
we had TV, yeah.
Right off the bat?
Because I always knew as a kid that you couldn't run this business without TV.
Right, exactly. All right, well, what was the schedule like in Puerto Rico? How many days would you work? I know now it's like 4 days, Sunday to...
There were times that we were running, like, in the summertime, 2 towns a night, 7 days a week.
Wow. How are
We
you
did that about 2 or 3 years. But usually we run, like, TV on Wednesday, and then we run towns Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, house shows.
How were you drawing early on?
Good, very good, yeah, big. We used to run twice on Sundays, too, Sunday afternoon and Sunday evening.
Wow. What was the typical crowd?
Oh, we can go anywhere from 2,000 to 37,000 was the best one we ever had.
What year was that?
That was, I think, 85, I think, if I'm not mistaken. It was Bruiser Brody and Stan Hansen versus Abdullah and myself.
Okay,
And me and Abdullah have been feuding for almost 15 years, and then I had this thing going with Brody and Hansen, and I couldn't beat him. I picked every partner I could think of, and nothing happened, so I figured, well, I better take a chance with Abby. So I flew over to San Antonio, where he was wrestling at the time, had a meeting with him, his manager, and he agreed, and we brought the match to our anniversary in Puerto Rico, and we turned them away from the Hiram Bethune Stadium.
that's amazing. Let's talk about the fans down there in Puerto Rico before we get more into the company itself. We've done interviews with a lot of guys that worked at Territory, and they said the fans down there, if you're a heel, you're in a lot of trouble because they riot, they throw batteries at you. How would you compare the fans in Puerto Rico to the ones that live here in the United States? Obviously, Puerto Rico is part of the United States, but
They're hot. They were very hot, and they believe the sport, and they would get behind their favorite wrestler. And if you were a heel and bad things, they go after you. But we had good security, really. I mean, very rare somebody got hurt from a fan,
Well,
a lot of the guys like to exaggerate more to make themselves tougher.
right.
But it was not as bad as it sounds, as they make it sound,
What was the worst thing that you've seen a fan do down in Puerto Rico?
Well, they throw, a couple of them threw rocks sometimes, a couple of times, but
Right.
our security made sure that, they would search him, and somebody got out of hand, they take him out right away.
I think the last time I was in Puerto Rico was in 2000. It was for Victor's IWA, and just the crowd heat was amazing. I mean, the fans
Yeah.
still believe that it's a legit sport, and they don't know that it's a work. Why do you think the Magic is still safe and sacred in Puerto Rico, and not like here in the States where?
Well, it's not like that anymore. It's it's a little bit like here.
Right.
Yeah, it's not. You don't see those riots that you used to see years ago.
Right. Let's talk about Victor Quinones. How did Victor get involved within the company? I know he was the godson of Gorilla.
No, as a young kid, he was only 14. He worked for us, selling tickets,
Right.
and he learned a lot from us about the business, and that's how he
He was a
he got
referee.
to be a promoter. Yeah.
Did you get along with Victor early on?
Yeah, I got along with him. Yeah.
Also, early on in WWC, you feuded with Gorilla Monsoon. He came in. I believe
Yeah, we do big business. Yeah.
Ernie Ladd.
Ernie Ladd. Yeah.
What are your memories of Ernie Ladd?
Good. They're all great guys, to work with.
Killer Carl Krupp.
Corrupt. So yeah, he was a little more, controversial, but we handled him.
What is that? He was like, I guess, like
He's temperamental, he would get mad for
with egos.
not so much ego. He's just crazy.
Right. Also, I believe
Eric the Red too.
Right.
Eric the Red. Yeah.
I don't want to pronounce his name wrong. Pampiro Firpo.
Firpo. Yeah. Firpo. Yeah.
And then Mongolian Stomper came into the territory.
Stomper too. Yeah. We had everybody. We have some cards that I go through my old books.
Right.
And we have bigger names than anybody in the country at the time.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, all at the same time, same night.
Now,
The Moondogs, we had Andre the Giant, we had Abdullah, we had the Stomper that night, Eddie Gilbert and his father,
Tommy Gilbert.
Tommy, and Dutch Mantel.
Savio Vega. I mean, we're going to talk about all these guys coming up. So, everybody who's ever been a name in the business at one point in time have come to your, company and worked for you. So, everybody's been through there. So.
Yeah.
How did you get involved with All Japan? I believe in 1979 you went over for Baba.
Through Abi Abdullah got me the opportunity.
What are your memories?
That was a good experience, yeah.
What are your memories of Giant Baba?
Good. Another guy too, an honorable man.
Good promoter?
Yeah, good promoter.
What are your memories of working with Abby over there? You guys were a tag team.
Yeah. One time.
Just once?
Yeah, one time.
When you went over to Japan, compare it to working in Puerto Rico, because it's a lot stiffer style in Japan.
He's not so much stiffer. It's just that it's a different style. It's kind of like a go. Not that much psychology to it,
Right. Were you able
It's not like Mexico, but it's different because Mexican wrestling is different than American wrestling. And even though Japan is not as aerial as the Mexican wrestling, but it's more like a go type of wrestling.
Were you able to get accustomed to the style right away, or did
Yeah,
it take some time to get used to?
it took a little time, but after the first week, I got the groove of it.
Now, I believe when you went over there early on, you worked regularly with Jumbo Tsuruta and Mil Mascaras.
Yeah,
What are your memories about Jumbo Tsuruta?
good wrestler too. Good, solid.
What about Mil Mascaras?
Good. Yeah, he mixed the Mexican style with the American. It's good.
Now, a lot of people that we talked to said that he might have had an ego. Do you think he was an egomaniac at all?
No. I don't know. He was a talented guy, and he knew it. And he didn't let anybody, put him down. So if that's being an egomaniac, then
Right.
he is.
Right. Now, you also worked with Giant Baba, I believe, too,
Yeah,
right?
I worked with everybody there because I was there several times, trips, and in those days the tours were like the shortest one was 3 weeks.
Wow.
So I was there 4 weeks twice, and then one time I was there 3 weeks.
Any good road stories from All Japan?
Oh yeah, I had a lot of fun there because it gave me a break from my business.
Right.
it gave me a chance to be one of the boys again for 4 weeks.
Yeah, I was
And
going to
I
ask you,
enjoyed it, yeah.
would you guys stop promoting shows in Puerto Rico at all? Or
No, they kept going. No,
They
we
kept
had
going?
we had a good company, and I was not the only star. We had the Invaders there that were hot. We had Eddie Gilbert was hot at one time, and we all had some American baby faces that were on top.
Who was your booker early on in the 70s? Who was your main booker? Was it you?
Well, I was always the booker, really.
Right.
I had guys, work in the dressing room to keep the discipline and stuff, but we.
For creative, it was
Yeah,
pretty
it was us, yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about Mexico. You mentioned Mil Mascaras, obviously one of the top Mexican stars. I think you went down there in 1982, and you worked at least one match in Mexico, right?
I worked a few matches there. I worked with Canek.
Right.
I worked with Pedro Aguayo.
El Santo?
El Santo. No, El Santo I worked with in Puerto Rico as his partner.
Okay.
They filmed a movie. He was filming a movie, Noche de San Juan. And inside the movie they had that one match, which was him and I as a team against Barabbas, who was one of our main heroes, and Rebelde Rojo. That was the guy that I was wrestling in Mexico.
Right. The Mexican style lucha libre, were you able to get accustomed to it the very first time you went over to Mexico?
It took me like Japan, a couple of times, because the tag team, they do a lot of tag teams over there, and there you don't tag. You just gotta know when to come in and when to get out.
Right.
And that was a little confusing at first, but I got used to it.
Do you think that style could get over in Puerto Rico, the lucha style, or do you think
See,
the audience?
when we started our company, the one thing I always wanted to do is to mix the Mexican wrestling, for the moves, fancy moves, the acrobatics, and the American style of wrestling for the timing, psychology, and
Right.
And we had great success doing that. That's why we're a little faster than the Americans, but a little slower than the Mexicans.
You guys definitely.
It's a good style,
Right.
And it was easy for the American guys when they come over to adapt to our style.
What are your memories of El Canek?
Good, big guy for a Mexican at that time. He was big and good performer.
When you went to Mexico, how long were your tours there for?
No, I just go in for
a
night or two and get out. But I did that a few times.
Now, I don't know what year this was, WWC was eventually invited to join the NWA. And then
we were part of the NWA for years.
Right.
Until it closed.
So you had access to a lot of the top guys.
Yeah,
like Ric Flair would come in.
We were pretty powerful there. My partner was a member of the board of directors for many years.
What are your memories of Ric Flair when he would come into the territory?
Yeah, he would do big business. All the champions, the NWA champions, when they come in, they do big for us.
Now, you guys had the big unification match, I believe it was in January of '83. But for whatever reason, the match never aired outside of Puerto Rico. It was never really officially recognized as a title change by the NWA. What were the politics behind this?
It was no politics. It was just we wanted to have our own champion, and we had our world WWC champion.
Right.
And then Ric Flair was the NWA champion. And we wanted to create a different title, like the Universal title. And that's how it was born. We had a match, Flair and I, a unification match. And I beat him for that. And then I became Universal champion. And we did away with the world title, and then we used the Universal title. And still today, the title is still going.
So it started from that match pretty much?
For that match, yeah.
Let's talk about Ric Flair. Was he easy to do business with when he came into the territory? Or?
Yeah, he was easy, yeah. Rick is a good guy. He's a good friend too,
Right.
Besides, we're good friends. So that...
Easy to work with in the ring?
Easy to work with, easy to do business with. It's easy.
What's he like outside the ring?
He's a party guy,
Right, exactly.
He is. What you see is what you get with him.
Real life gimmicks to shoot.
Yeah.
Also, Ed Farhat came in, the original Sheik, I believe, in 1982, worked the territory for a year.
Yeah, he worked, he did business too, yeah.
Good business? Okay. Now, your feud with Abdul the Butcher to this day, you watch the videotapes, it's probably one of the most legendary feuds of all time in WWC. I remember watching it as a fan myself and getting the videotapes and, rewinding some of the stuff you guys did.
I think not only WWC, I think around the world, because I go to many places, different countries, and they talk about it. You guys ask me about it.
Yeah, you guys pretty much had some of the biggest drawing gates because of that match.
Yeah.
You guys would have death matches and brawl over the building, barbed wire matches, chain matches. What are, I guess, some of the memorable matches that stick out in your feud with Abby? What are some of the matches that you remember the most?
What barbed wire matches, man? I had a few of them. They were unforgettable.
Easy to work, or
easy? Yeah. But you had to be in shape to work Abby because he was on your ass. I mean, if you didn't, if you fall asleep, he eat you up.
Memories of the famous angle where Abby blinded you with a
Yeah, that was the biggest house we ever drew.
pneumonia.
Singles,
Right.
going against each other. Yeah, I was out for 6 weeks, and when I came back, we sold out the Bithorn again. People all over. We had about 15,000 people on the ground,
Wow.
and all the stands were full.
Now, what do you think about the most recent news with Abdullah Butcher testing positive for hepatitis C? Do you think it's true, or what are your thoughts on the whole entire situation?
I don't know. It's a very sad thing, Things like that should never happen because, if it's true that they have it, how do you tell who gave it to who?
Right. Have you ever been tested for it at all? Or?
No, I'm fine. I don't have it.
Oh, I mean, when you heard the story, did you get tested, or did you get tested before?
Before, yeah.
Okay. I guess, in Puerto Rico, the style is so violent, and, we'll talk about blading and stuff like that. Has it ever caused you to reevaluate, I guess, the practice of blading at all? Did you ever say, all right, maybe we should do less blood now with all the dangers out there with diseases, or?
Well, we never, in our territory, there's not that much blood.
Not anymore.
Even then, it was not, it's less now, but
right.
Even then, it was not like people say, like, every night, no.
Right. The big story is with that kid, Devin Nicholson, the Canadian wrestler, suing Abby for giving him the disease, allegedly. He also worked for you down in Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on him as a worker and as a person? I mean,
he was a nice kid. He's kind of quiet, awful quiet,
Right. But he was a decent worker?
Yeah, average, yeah.
He claims, I don't know how true it is, again, he said that he didn't know that Abby, he didn't give Abby permission to blade him. Did you ever know Abby to blade somebody without, one of the workers giving permission?
I never heard of that before.
All right. Now you guys really shifted towards, I guess it was the late 80s, a very violent, style of professional wrestling. What did you think about, Victor was with you guys, and I would say Victor maybe looked up to you as you might have been Victor's mentor. What do you think about Victor going over to Japan and starting up the Wing promotion, and obviously Anita, starting up the FMW promotion in Japan using your style? Did you what were your thoughts on that?
I never gave much thought because I didn't know much of it. I heard they had a little company there, but I didn't know. I didn't have details.
Right.
How they run it.
Didn't really interfere with your business either.
No. And we always dealt with the big ones there, Baba and Inoki and International when they had it.
Right.
Mr. Yoshihara.
Okay. Now Eddie Gilbert, when he came into your company, he was there in the early '90s, and eventually he became booker for ECW. And Paul Heyman, started ECW as well, taking over for Eddie as the booker. What did you think of the modern day hardcore wrestling in ECW? The use of the tables, the ladders, chairs, glass, and the thumbtacks. You guys pretty much done a lot of that early on.
Yeah, but we didn't
You didn't overdo
it like they're doing it. And
right.
What they do, they're killing it because now they see one table, they see two tables, it doesn't mean anything.
You guys did it.
At first, it was like an eye opener, but now that they've seen it so much, I don't think it means much.
Right. All right, let's talk about. Well, did you watch ECW when it first came on at all?
I watched a few episodes, but not too, it's not my thing,
It was you weren't into the product.
No.
Okay. Going back to the fans, with the reputation of violence, is it true that several foreign wrestlers demanded increased security measures? Like, I guess I believe Brody was even attacked by a fan one time with a knife, and seats were removed, I guess, further from the ring.
Who?
The fans when they attacked Brody with a knife at one point in time.
No, that's not true.
Never. Okay.
No, never.
I didn't know if that was true as far as like the seats being pushed back further.
No. We never had to take this measure.
Okay.
It was not. They make it, like I said, they make it sound worse than it really was, but
right.
It wasn't that bad.
Any stories from working exotic locations such as Dominican Republic at all, or Trinidad, or the Virgin Islands?
Yeah, we have our TV program in Trinidad. still. And our plans is to reopen that area again. We were there before and we were very successful. We drew some big crowds in Trinidad.
You had the big riot, I think, over there in the early '80s with Abby.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that.
And the fans there were a lot harder than they were in Puerto Rico. The other thing,
Right.
people don't hear much of that about that.
What are your memories of the riot that happened over there in Trinidad? Were you nervous with the armed soldiers at all?
No, it was not really riot. It's just that the security there, they wear that kind of uniform.
Right.
It looked like army people. They're not.
Okay. Obviously, you were married to Abby for a long time. You guys had a huge program together, and eventually it spilled over to the NWA in the States for Starrcade '83.
Yeah.
What are your memories of facing Abby at the Greensboro show, Starrcade '83?
It was a great experience because I didn't know that feud had that much interest, in the States.
Right.
And when I got in the ring and I hit Abby, I mean, that place became unglued.
Did you ever, at any point in time, want to come back to the States full time and work here after working for the NWA in the early '83 or '84, or was you? Just
I wanted to, but I didn't have time because we're so busy running the Caribbean.
Right.
Not only 4 towns in Puerto Rico, then every 2 weeks we go to Trinidad and run 3 towns there, Barbados and 1 in Barbados and 2 in Trinidad.
You also worked for Joe Blanchard for Southwest Championship Wrestling?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did quite a few things.
Who was in that territory when you went down there?
Tully wasn't there. He had just left.
Okay.
The Shivers.
Luke and Bush.
They were running it.
Right.
And
Manny
Manny Fernandez, Al Perez.
Bob Sweetan was still there?
No, Sweetan wasn't there. I think he came after or he was there before.
Right.
Alma Drill.
Okay.
I had a good crew. Bobby Jaggers, Eric Embry, Bobby Fulton.
Right.
Yeah.
What are your memories of Bobby Jaggers, who he played a big role in your company in Puerto Rico?
Yeah, he worked a lot for us. We like Bobby. He's a good guy.
Easy to work with?
Easy, yeah. Yeah.
What are your memories of the Sheep Herders?
Good. They did big business for us.
They had the infamous, I believe, who did they work? It was Invaders. The
Invaders,
the barbed wire match.
Yeah, they did a
good business for you guys.
Big business, yeah.
Are you surprised when they went to the WWF and kind of like got rid of the gimmick and became the Bushwhackers when they were pretty much the most violent tag team in the business?
Yeah, I was happy for them. It showed that
they could get over.
They can be versatile. Yeah.
Right. Okay. What are your memories of I guess the boxer versus wrestler match with the late Joe Frazier in 1984?
Yeah, that was a good angle.
How did that come about?
You mean the outcome?
Yeah, no. Just how did the whole angle start?
Well, I heard before in the past that that wrestler versus, remember when Inoki fought Ali?
Yes.
And that was a successful deal. So I figured, well, why not do it here then? Now.
Right.
In Puerto Rico, and we got in touch with Frazier's people, and we did it, and it was great. He also refereed for us one of my matches in Trinidad.
Is that the one with you and Brody?
No.
Okay.
It was me and Abby, I think.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I have my notes that one time you worked Brody, and I guess he was the referee, and I guess the finish called for Frazier punching Brody, who was apparently paranoid that he was going to get double-crossed or legit knocked out. I don't know if there's any truth.
I don't remember. I didn't think it was Brody, but if you say it was.
Yeah, I think it's Brody.
Yeah, that's what it said.
Okay.
And he wrestled Jovica he fought Jovica in Trinidad.
Really?
Yeah.
How was that?
It was good. Boxer versus wrestler.
When you fought him, I believe the match only won about 5 rounds.
When I fought who?
When you fought Frazier.
No, I never fought Frazier.
You never pinned him in a wrestling match?
No.
Okay.
No.
So who did
I wasn't that crazy. Yeah.
Who did he actually work? Was it
He worked Victor in Trinidad, and he refereed one of my matches. I think it was Steve Strong against me.
Okay.
And he was the referee.
All right, I got it mixed up. Was it hard to convince Frazier to do the job in the match, or was he?
Well, he didn't do a job. He's just
right.
It ended in no contest or something like that.
Okay. I believe in 1985 you also worked for Pro Wrestling USA, which was Vern Gagne and NWA when they did the joint promotion deal.
Yeah.
What are your memories of working for Vern?
Good.
in NWA?
Good. We always got along with everybody.
Who were some of the guys that were in the company when you were for AWA?
Wow. I don't remember. It's been so long. I don't.
Right. You also had an action figure come out.
With Abby.
Remco, yeah.
Yeah.
I believe it was one of the first action figures out there with you involved. So, were you happy to see that in the
Yeah, I was
stores?
happy. I still see it. Some fans bring it to me. For me to sign.
Randy Savage also came into the company, I
Yeah.
believe in 1984.
Yeah,
right
just before he went to New York. Yeah.
What are your memories of working
Good,
with Randy?
good. Big business, sir. Yeah.
What was he like outside the ring?
Good to work with. Good to, do business with.
Right.
The whole family, Lanny, his dad, they all worked for us at one time.
Did he bring his wife down at all, Elizabeth? When
No, that was before. I don't think they even knew each other then.
Okay.
No.
Because all right. Well, you brought in a lot of guys, like we said earlier on, especially from the NWA. Harley Race came in to the territory, and you worked with Harley. What are some of your memories of working with Harley Race?
Good, a great professional.
Terry and Dory Funk,
Sorry, yeah, for a long time. Yeah, big business.
and of course Stan Hansen, another guy you had tons of matches, bull matches, and a lot of gimmick matches with in Puerto Rico. Talk about Stan Hansen. What was he like to do business with?
With us, easy, no problem.
Dick Murdoch.
Good. He worked for us a few times.
What are some of your memories with Dick Murdoch outside the ring?
Good. He liked the beer.
That's what everybody says.
Yeah, we used to. He was a good barbecue guy too. He had an apartment by the beach, and he'd bring the boys, every week.
Right.
I have a big barbecue. I was there a few times, and good.
What about Tully Blanchard? Obviously, you met him in Southwest.
A good friend, yeah. I'm very happy that he's been inducted in the Hall of Fame this year.
Ronnie
He deserves
Garvin.
it. Tremendous performer.
And Joe LeDuc also came into the company.
He worked for us, so he did good business. So.
Out of all the guys that would come down to work for you, who's the one guy besides Abdullah Butcher that did really good business for you?
Other than that, it's hard because so many of them did business for so long. It was so easy for us to get those guys over. All the guys that I cannot mention one that came down and didn't get over.
What was your philosophy for bringing these guys in? Obviously, they're all like big monster heels. You had Stan Hansen, Bruiser Brody, and Abby. Was it pretty much, you were the big baby face battling?
Well, they had the size and the style. We made sure they were aggressive.
Right.
Like you said, Hansen, Brody, Abby, they were all, big rugged guys. And that's all you needed. Just put them on that TV, and the fans were hungry for talent like that.
When you would bring a Bruiser Brody, and what were your plans as far as bringing him in? Or even a Stan Hansen when you first brought these guys in?
Just build them like we did,
Right.
And that way they can come in and out for big shows, and we would always do big business with them,
What are your thoughts on Dutch Mantel? Because he was also a booker for you.
Yeah, he's a great, good mind.
Good mind for the business?
I think he's underrated. I mean, a lot of big companies in the States don't give him the recognition that he deserves. I think he's has one of the greatest minds in the business.
What are some of the, some of his ideas that really stick out in your mind that Dutch did for your company? Some of the gimmicks that he came up with.
Well, I don't want to go into it, but he was very creative.
Good guy?
Yeah, good guy, yeah.
Out of all your bookers, who is your favorite booker that you had, that you employed?
Like I said, I always did the booking. But the only one that really, we had Luke of the Sheepherders. He was a real booker for a year.
Right.
And Dutch too. He's the other one that really ran his stories.
When Luke
and I think Dutch, I have a lot of respect for his way of thinking, wrestling wise.
What are your early memories of Bruiser Brody? The very first time you ever met Bruiser Brody?
Good. He was a good guy.
What was it like to work with him inside the ring?
I was a little stiff, but he's good. He wouldn't hurt you.
Was he ever difficult behind the scenes at all, or?
Well, no, not with me. I really never have any problem with him.
Easy to get along with, and
yeah, he was.
And obviously, he was good business for the company.
Yeah, big business. Other than Abby, he was the next.
Obviously, we're going to talk about it. It's a big story. What happened, with Bruiser Brody and Jose Gonzalez and Invader #1 and the locker room?
Well, I really wouldn't like to go into it because I don't know really much of it. The only thing I knew that they had differences before.
I was going to ask you. I mean, did you know that there was heat between the two before there? incident, did you know that there was trouble brewing?
Not really, not until it happened. That's when all those things came out, because neither one of them, they worked together and everything was fine.
All right.
If I knew that it was heat, I would have
separated
them and stopped using one of them.
Now, I've heard different stories. I'm going to just tell you what I heard.
I know, yeah, I know
Right.
you must have heard a million stories.
I heard from, Victor told me, and a lot of the boys that we've done interviews with said.
What,
that-
Victor Quinones?
Yeah. I talked to Victor when I was in the islands a couple times, and he had told me that stemming back in the late, I guess, 70s, early 80s, when Jose worked for WWF as a job guy, that Frank would be there, or Bruiser Brody, and he was a little bit too stiff with him, maybe took him to the limits and didn't pay him respect. And then later on down the line, when
Well, first of all, if he told you that, he lied to you, because Jose Invader was never a job guy for Vince.
right,
He was a mid-carder.
right, as the Invaders when he came into the
No, and before that, as
Yeah.
Jose Gonzalez was not a job guy. I was a job guy when I started in '68, because I was 18. I was, what you call a job guy is a guy that goes on TV.
right.
But Jose was, working all the house shows with the Samoans, with the, Moondogs, and he was not a job guy. But I don't know what those differences. I didn't know about that until that incident.
So that night, you had no sense that there was ever any heat
No,
between the two?
oh no,
So-
that's I would have avoided it, because you don't need that.
I was going to ask you if you knew that he was going to.
And our business, I heard of business big time.
I was going to ask you. I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions. You were the very first person, I believe, on the scene after the stabbing took place. And is it true that Bruiser Brody's final words to you were pretty much to ask you to take care of his family?
Not really. He, I really, when we went into that room, that what happened had already happened.
Right.
I just helped him out, and we put him on the floor, and the doctor was there.
Where were you?
But I don't remember those words, because I was so nervous. Everybody, I never seen anything like that in my life.
Where were you before the actual incident happened? Were you were running the show, or were you?
I was in the dressing room there. We were all there. All the boys were there.
You were in the same dressing room as Brody, or okay.
As Brody. We were all there in the same room.
What exactly did you hear? Anything or?
No, they went to the back, the shower,
Right.
and they were talking like they used to talk all the time. So we never thought, I never thought that, that thing was going to take place, because
Right.
I would have stopped it.
When was the first time that you sensed trouble that night? When did you realize something just happened?
When it happened, when the whole commotion, the thing.
You actually heard the screaming, or?
Yeah, I heard it like a fight,
Right.
Yeah, like a fight.
And what happened after you heard the commotion? What did you do? Did
We
you?
went in, and my partner went in, Victor, and we separated them, and I didn't even know that he was hurt, that, until the doctor started.
Oh, you saw. Was Frank lying on the ground at this point in the shower, bleeding? Or?
No, he was not bleeding. They were standing there. We separated like you and this kid.
Right.
Started fighting. We just pulled them apart.
When did you realize that Brody had been stabbed?
When the doctor came over,
Did you realize how bad it was at first?
I didn't know. No.
Is it true that Victor Jovica tried to have it? Well, they engaged in a shoving match after Jose stabbed him at all, or?
No, I don't know about that.
All right. 'Cause somebody
Victor
said
never told me that.
Jovica on sec wasn't able to pretty much detain Jose Gonzalez at all. So, what happened with the ambulance? Why did it take so long? It was like 25 minutes, I guess, before the actual ambulance arrived.
I don't know how long it was, but I
Was it
don't think it was that long.
really
It took a little time, but not. I don't think 25 minutes.
When the paramedics first arrived, did they think it was an angle at all, or did they know? It was,
I don't know really. It's been so long ago and so sad. I really, I would want to talk about this anymore, because it
Okay.
makes you sad. And
I just have a couple more questions, and we'll definitely move on. Did you ever want to cancel the show that night at all, or did you just?
No,
continue?
we were so confused, and I don't even know what I was doing. Nobody was.
Do you think it was self?
Because we never had anything like that happen
Right.
before or since. And it was terrible.
Do you think there was a cover up at all? I mean, we did interviews with like Tony Atlas and Savio Vega, and they said that The Office covered up the actual murder. And I mean, do you think there was a cover up at all?
No, it was not. The only guy that could have covered was Javik and I, and we didn't do that.
Right.
You know, we told the judge and in the courtroom, we said what we saw. We didn't really, because I didn't see any stabbing. I didn't see any weapon. I didn't see anything.
Do you think it was a case of self-defense? Do you think that, I mean, obviously Jose Gonzalez said that, you know, it was self-defense. Do you believe it was really self-defense?
Well, I don't know, really. I don't know. You know, I respect the law.
Right. Dutch Mantel said that when we did an interview with Dutch, he claimed that he didn't receive his subpoena, I guess, until the day after the trial had ended. Do you believe that, or?
I don't know, really. I don't know, 'cause I don't know.
Okay. Well, after.
But the trial, that was a long time after it happened.
Right.
So he must have received it before. I don't know.
How bad did that affect your business, that entire incident? Because I mean, that was, you know, Gonzalez.
It affected tremendously. You know, in a negative way, because, you know,
Right.
a lot of fans, you know, stop going because they figure, well, this is too much, you know.
Did a lot of the American guys that you booked, I know Abby was one of them, Tony Atlas said they weren't going to work there anymore. How did you take that? Did you take it as a personal insult, or did you
No,
say,
they
"All right"?
were.
I know they came back eventually.
No, they came back right away almost. We had, you know, we kept running with the same, you know, the Youngblood were there. They were sad. We were all sad, you know. We lost a good friend.
I'm just looking at my notes real quick.
And a good talent, too, for us. The company does more than anybody.
Right, right.
Because he was a big draw for us.
At what point did you say, all right, I'm going to either continue to work with Jose Gonzalez or not work with him? I mean, how did that decision come about for you to continue working with Jose Gonzalez after that incident?
Well, he when he came, you know, innocent, then we couldn't really hold that against him because, you know, we'd be being prejudiced,
Right.
you know.
Years later, I don't know how true this is. Did Gonzalez go on TV at all and brag about killing Bruiser Brody like years later? Is that true?
I don't know, but I doubt it. I don't think he's that kind of a guy. You know, nobody could, you know, shit.
Right. I guess we'll move on now.
But a lot of people say a lot of bad things about, you know, he's not the most popular guy anyway.
Jose
So
Gonzalez.
so a lot of people, you know, they take this to really run him down, and it's sometimes unfair because, you know, they say things about him that aren't true.
Right, right. Did you? What was your contact with his wife Barbara? What did you say to her after the incident happened? I mean,
Oh, it was
how emotional was that? I
thing
mean,
for
had to
me
be
to
really
say.
tough.
Very hard, yeah.
Right,
She stayed at my house with the kid,
right.
her son. And
All right. After that had happened, I believe in 2005, you had the Bruiser Brody Memorial Cup. Do you think that was in poor taste for the company to promote it as the Bruiser Brody Memorial Show, or?
No, because he was one of our great stars.
Okay.
Like we have the Abdullah Memorial, and we have, you know.
Right, right. All right. How did you feel, I believe, in 1991, Onita, he did the FMW angle where they did the stabbing with Victor Quinones and got Gonzalez, where Gonzalez stabbed Onita in the stomach. Do you think that was done in poor taste, that angle? After
I don't
everything
know
that
really.
happened?
I had nothing to do with that, and when I heard about it, I thought it was bullshit. You know?
Bad business.
Bad business, bad taste. That you don't do that.
All right. Did you have heat at all with Victor Quinones at this point in time when he left the company? Because we'll talk about when he started IWC coming up. When he went over to Japan and started the Wings, did you and Victor already have a falling out at all, or?
No. He, you know, he wanted to become independent and do his own thing, and you know,
Right.
he had the right to do that.
Memories of Hercules Ayala. You guys had the very first fire match, I believe, in 1988. What are your memories of working Hercules Ayala? Another big heel that you guys had.
Big here, yeah. He drew a lot of money for us for a lot of years. Good talent, good guy.
And then, like a lot of people, like I said earlier, you know, copied the style of your company. You were definitely a true pioneer in the business for some of the stuff you did. In, I guess, the late 90s, early 90s, I'm sorry, Onita did the fire match in Japan, in FMW. What are your thoughts on FMW copying your style, doing the fire matches? You think it's just flattering, or?
Yeah, he's flattering, yeah. Because here, we don't know anything, you know, like, say somebody copy his move, that move, you know. Nobody owns anything. Everybody can do what they want to do, you know.
Right.
But I'm flattered that they, you know, they mentioned that they got it from us.
Memories of working with the Iron Sheik when he would come into the territory.
He was another guy close to Abdullah as far as getting over quick, you know. When we brought him over, I guess he was over from the TV in WWF.
Right. Easy to work with.
Easy to work with, yeah.
Crazy outside the ring.
Crazy,
right?
yeah, crazy as hell, but
You have to do a lot
good
of
box office attraction.
Manny Fernandez. What are your memories of the Bull? Manny Fernandez.
Well, he was a little difficult, yeah, at times.
Just ego purposes, or
No, just personal problem, but you know, basically a good guy.
you guys did the infamous angle where Manny jumped off the top rope onto Invader's stomach, and Invader drank all the goat's blood and coughed up the blood. How awesome was that for your TV for the box office?
That was a little too strong. We got
You got in trouble for that? Or
bad publicity, yeah.
what happened?
Well, you know, on TV, it was a little strong for TV.
Did you get kicked off any stations, or
No, but we got a memo.
you got heat? We were talking about Manny Fernandez and him working for you. You said he was a little difficult to work with at times. After Manny Fernandez came in, you had other guys come in as well, like Yokozuna. He came in for a little bit. Coquina.
Yeah, Coquina, yeah, a few times, yeah.
Easy to work with. Good
Yeah.
wrestler.
Yeah, good wrestler, yeah.
Afa and Sika were pretty much family
Yeah,
members, so you worked
yeah,
with them a lot.
for a long time, yeah.
So you know, like, the family history there.
Yeah,
What are your memories of Steve DeSalvo? Steve Strong.
hard to work with.
Why is
Very
that?
difficult.
A lot of people say he was a nightmare to work with.
Yeah, it was worse than that.
Just what was it? What do you think?
He's just so difficult, you know.
I guess in the late '80s and early '90s, your business started to go downhill a little bit with the gate. Why do you?
When was that?
In I guess the very late '80s, early '90s, was business bad for you guys?
No, it was a good. Late 80s, we set records. It was in the mid 90s
Mid '90s.
to, you know, the end of the 90s.
What do you think happened? What made the business change?
It was a number of things, you know, mainly, you know, I was getting older and getting out of the business, and
So it was time to pretty much bring in new guys, and
yeah.
that's when you brought in TNT, Savio Vega, Miguel Perez Jr., Hurricane Castillo, and
No, they came before.
they were in already.
Before, yeah. Savio was big for us. You know.
He was, I was going to ask you. Let's talk about
Not Miguel. Miguel was just so-so, but Savio was big.
talk about Savio Vega. We did an interview with him, and he talked about how he got to start with you and his character.
We taught him everything. He was a security guard.
Right.
And we made him a wrestler and turned him into a big star.
And obviously, later on down the line,
We gave him his character, everything.
Right.
His name, his pain, everything.
So you saw the big potential in TNT and his whole gimmick, and early on.
Not so much in him, in the gimmick. You know, the ninja was hot.
Right.
That thing, you know. So we figured, well, let's try with him, because he was a legit karate guy,
Right.
black belt. So we figured, well, let's try him, and it worked.
What about Miguel Perez Jr.? Some of your memories of
No, we never. He worked for us, but he was, you know, just a up and down guy.
What about Hurricane Castillo Jr.?
Same thing, you know.
Jose Estrada Jr.?
He didn't work for us too much, you know, just a little bit. His
Just-
other brother, Julio,
Right.
Rico Suave, he worked for us a lot. He's a good wrestler.
Now Savio, he also worked in the office for you, right?
No.
He never helped book it or
No,
run
he
the
didn't.
locker room at all?
No, he
Just
didn't have,
strictly
he
talent?
didn't have the ability for that. At least we didn't think so.
Okay. What are, I guess, Hugo Stavanovich, one of your announcers. What are your memories of working with Hugo?
Great kid. We took him from, he was just a young wrestler doing jobs, you know.
Right.
And we saw the potential in him, and slowly we brought him up. First he was the manager, and he did a great job at that. Then we needed a commentator, and we turned him loose.
Over the years, back in the 90s, obviously he had some drug problems. What are your thoughts on his problems? Obviously now he's back and clean and working for the WWE full time, and he retired, I believe, recently too from those.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
What are your memories of Hugo as far as his problems? Did you sense that at all when he was?
No, I didn't. No, because I don't get involved in their personal life, you know.
Right.
Nobody.
Now, did you have any offers at all to work for the WWF in the 80s, the late 80s, or even the 90s?
No, because I was too
You're
busy
still
with my
doing-
territory, and I wasn't gonna, give that up for nothing.
How did your appearance in the 1993 Royal Rumble come about?
Oh, it's a good experience. I enjoyed it.
What are your memories of that? Did Gorilla get you hooked up with there? Or
Yeah, Gorilla did. Yeah.
What are your memories of working the Rumble?
It was great. It was there amongst a whole bunch of big international stars.
Right.
At the time, it was great.
And I believe Grill Monsoon, even on commentary, put you over, and he said that you're a youngster.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah.
You were like 45, I think, at the time, right?
Well, what year was that?
I think it was 93. Yeah.
93. Yeah, or that.
Eddie Gilbert, we talked about him earlier on. He came in, I believe, and around 95, right before his death. Was he booking it all, helping you do some of the storylines?
Yeah, when he died, yeah, he was helping us with the book.
What are your memories of Eddie? Because I remember right before that, he had called me to get some tapes. He wanted to watch fire matches because he was going to do a big fire match with you, and I gave him a bunch of stuff. What are your memories of Eddie?
He was very dedicated, to the business. He lived for the business.
What are your memories of his final?
Very talented, huh?
I guess his final match was with a wrestling bear.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
Good. He could get anything over, even wrestling with a bear.
What are your thoughts on his passing? His untimely death?
Sad. He's so young and so talented. And
what was the drug scene like in Puerto Rico? Is it a big drug scene?
No.
It's just
almost nothing now.
Okay. What are your thoughts on Victor Quinones and Savio Vega when they started IWA Puerto Rico in 1999, and then they were pretty much running opposition to you guys? Talk about some of the behind-the-scenes politics that happened there, and the war that you guys pretty much had, because you guys were both battling over TV and towns. What are some of your memories that stand out?
Well, like you said, it was a war. We underestimated them. Really, I didn't think. Dutch Mantel was the key. If Dutch Mantel hadn't gone there, they would have never succeeded.
So you think Dutch pretty much helped them?
Yeah, he did.
Okay. How much bad blood was there at the time?
It wasn't about blood. It was all business.
It was all business.
Yeah.
Would you guys ever try to sabotage?
No, I never did. No, I never did. I don't believe in doing stuff like that.
What was the?
And they know it too.
Right. What was the big dispute that actually led to Jose Gonzalez to jump from WWC to IWA? Because that was pretty big.
I don't know. You're gonna have to ask him.
Okay.
We never talk about that. He's working for me now.
Right, he's back with you guys.
Yeah.
How big of an advantage was IWA's promotional relationship with the WWF at the time? Because they were working very close with WWF. WWF would send them talent. WWE, I'm sorry, at the time would send them key guys. Did that hurt you at all, you think? Because they were getting, the Tommy Dreamers would go down there. I know Super Crazy Tajiri went down there a little bit. And they would get other guys in there as well.
Well, he helped them because, the WWE had the TV there, so
right.
Anytime you get talent like that, it's going to help you.
What happened to your relationship with WWE at the time? Why weren't they sending talent to you guys?
No, because at the time, Savio was working for them.
Okay.
So,
Right. It was
how can you give somebody else talent and not,
Right. It was all business.
He's like now we're working with WWE and we get talent from
right.
them.
It was just,
So, and just before they got it, I was getting talent from them. But it was just so that Savio was working for them at the time.
Right.
And I guess he saw the opportunity. He said, well, I'm here. So he talked to the bosses and he got him to send talent.
How close did WWC come to going out of business at its lowest point? Was there ever a time where you said, all right, houses are really down, maybe it's time to pull a plug on the company at all? Or
we never thought of that. Never, not once. We gone through tough times, but we never, that idea had never crossed our mind.
Victor claimed that he actually loaned you guys money between 2002 and 2005 to keep you guys afloat. Is that true at all? Or?
No, he talked a lot of shit. So,
Right.
He's dead. But
what are your thoughts on Victor's passing with Somas and all that?
I don't know. I didn't know anything about that. I didn't know he was taking that.
All right.
It's news to me.
He's a good friend of ours. As far as his lifestyle and it's no secret, the stuff that went on behind the scenes with him and young workers. What are your thoughts on all the allegations over the years that have come out with different guys saying, Victor would try to sexually hit on them or stuff like that? Do you think it was true, or do you think it was bullshit?
I don't know, really. I don't.
You don't really. It's businesses.
Yeah, I don't.
It doesn't affect
get
you.
involved in personal stuff like that. Yeah.
Exactly. All right. What is the current state right now in Puerto Rico of the business? Do you think it will ever go back to the 80s, or?
I don't know if we can go back to that because he was big then, super big, but he's coming up. Definitely coming up now.
And Savio Vega, I believe, returned to you guys too last year, right? To work for you.
A couple of
Just a couple
shots,
times.
but that nothing, nothing major.
Did you ever want to be the heel?
No.
Always liked being a babyface?
Yeah, because it's what I know how to do best. So
Did you ever consider turning heel at all?
no, never.
No.
Never have.
I guess, how did you come about with the your signature cartwheel spot? When did you first start doing it?
Oh, I don't remember. When I first started in Puerto Rico.
How many times have you held the WWC Universal Heavyweight title?
They say 26 times. It's so many, I don't remember.
I was going to ask you, it was about 26
26.
times. All right. Let's talk about your sons, Carlito and Eddie Primo, both who have debuted in, I believe, 1999. As kids, did they tell you that they wanted to get into the business? Did you always know that?
No, they didn't say they didn't want to, but they never showed.
Right.
And I never thought they were going to follow my footsteps that way.
And you also trained, I believe, Orlando, who is now in WWE, as Epico.
I didn't really train him. He was going to college in Michigan,
Right.
in Kalamazoo, I believe, Western Michigan, on a baseball scholarship. And while he was going there to study and play ball, in the afternoon, when his time off, he would go and take classes,
Wow. So at what point did
wrestling classes,
What point did Carlito come to you and say, "Hey, I want to, get into the business"? And
Well, actually, it was Dutch Mantel that got him in business
touched it.
with his storyline
Right.
with Ray Gonzalez.
Right. Were you for that? I mean, did you ever try to say, "Hey, this is something that you don't want to get into"? Or?
No, because the business has been good to me, and I love the business, And the only thing I wanted them to go to college before if they were gonna do this full time, I wanted them to get an education first.
Just for backup.
And they did, yeah, right.
Okay. Your daughter, I believe, her name's Stacy. She also is.
She did it. She likes it, yeah.
Right. Okay. Were you happy that Carlito eventually got signed by WWE?
Yeah, right. Thanks to Jerry Briscoe, and I helped, through Jerry, I helped get him in there.
Right. Now, early on when he first came in, he was pretty outspoken about not getting a big push in the company. Why do you think? Because when I first saw Carlito on TV, he could talk, he had the look, and why do you think the office never really gave him the ball?
I don't know.
Politics.
No, I don't know. They have their own way of doing business, and
Right.
I can't criticize them because they're successful. So, but when you're in Rome, you do what the Romans do.
Right.
And if you don't like it, you get out.
Did he ever call you from the road and say, ask
No,
you for
he's
advice
very,
at all?
he's very keeps to himself, and I give him advice, but he never asks. He keeps me out of it.
Right. What are your memories of the 2005 house show that you guys did? The angle with Carlito and Ric Flair in San Juan, where Carlito spit the apple at your face and attacked you, and then Flair made the save.
Yeah, that was good.
Good stuff.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah.
The crowd ate it up, or
Oh, tremendously.
what are your thoughts on Carlito's troubled WWE run? And eventually he was let go after failing the wellness test and refused to go to rehab. What are your thoughts on all of that went down? I mean,
Well, it was a mistake he made, and I wish he hadn't made it. But now he's over that. He's in good shape. He's clean, and I'd like to see him go back to the WWE again.
do you think he will go back? I mean,
I hope he does. I know if he ever does, and he gets the ball, he's going to take it home.
without a doubt.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Primo and Epico's current tag team title push right now?
Well, good tag team they do. They do a lot of good stuff.
Do you think, obviously WWE's always been obsessed with size and bigger guys. Do you think it's a miracle that, they're giving those guys a push?
No, but
push
now,
size?
if you notice, recently they're using a lot of smaller guys.
Right.
You saw that kid Evan Bourne is very small, and R-Truth is not a giant, and neither is Kofi Kingston, and they get a good push.
Are you actually going to be at the show on Sunday, obviously? For
Yeah.
Me?
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to talk about this. In 2001, was your brother murdered, Noel, or
Yeah.
what happened there? Was it just a bad incident?
Well, he was the president of the Teamsters, and it was some problem he had in the organization with one of the members, and he was doing bad things, and my brother is straight, and
Right.
he wasn't going to allow it, monkey business in the union, and I guess
disgruntled guy.
Yeah, that's probably. I don't know much of it, but from what I hear, that's really what took place.
Does the guy go to jail, hopefully? Or?
Oh yeah, he's doing live without parole.
Oh, good. How did you get involved with boxing? Because you were involved in a controversial scoring of, I believe, Devin Alexander and the HBO match. Lucas, I don't want to mispronounce his last name, Matthijs?
No.
No?
I don't know where you get that sort.
You never did any boxing?
No.
Okay.
No, never.
Okay. Oh, a bad question.
Where did you get that?
I have no idea. It was on my list of questions.
He's the one that got it, right?
Yeah. So, any thoughts on a possible induction in the WWE Hall of Fame, excluding family? Like, who would you want to choose? If you were to be, opted to be in the Hall of Fame for WWE, who would you want to give the speech to induct you into the Hall of Fame?
Oh, Carlito.
Carlito?
Definitely, yeah.
If you couldn't have Carlito, who else would you want? Maybe Abby?
No, Abby's not a talking guy. I don't know if you know. Like through his career, he never spoke
Right.
because that's not his strong point.
Looking back at your career, what is your fondest memories? If you could have like 2 matches to put on videotape to show your grandchildren, what matches would they be?
It's hard because so many, really.
Right.
So many. Now that we have a few tapes, DVDs of my matches, and I watched some of them, and I didn't know they were that good.
Right.
I had some great ones, Hercules Ayala, many good ones with Abby, quite a few with Ric Flair too.
Do you still watch the business today?
Charlie Blanchard and I, Humdingers.
Right.
Yeah, Garvin and I. Super matches. Dick Steinborn, but we don't have tape of that because this is way back. Dick Steinborn and I wrestled many hour matches. We had one 90-minute match.
Right.
That was, classic.
Looking back, who was the one guy you like to work with the most?
Oh, I enjoy working with a lot of guys. I enjoy the Funks a lot. Both of them, 2 different styles, but I enjoy both of them. Ronnie Garvin was solid, but I like working with him.
Right.
Flair, forget it. Harley Race, one of my favorites. Yeah.
What do you think is the biggest misconception about the Puerto Rico wrestling scene? Is there anything you want to say to people that might be watching this?
What do you mean misconception? Like what?
Obviously there's a rumor with the fans being crazy. If there's anything that ever, this is your time to say it, that you want to clear the air and say, get off your chest. Something that people think that's true that might not be true. Like anything involving the Bruiser Brody case or...
Well, the Bruiser Brody, they exaggerate a lot. They also exaggerate about the fans being as violent as they say they are. I admit, they're pretty hot-blooded, but they're not, murderers or assassins like, some of these guys say they are.
Right. Do you still watch TNA at all? Do you ever watch the...
I watch, not every week, but,
Right.
I watch it.
What are your thoughts on TNA's product?
I think it's a good product, but I think it's lacking something. And I can't really pinpoint it. Sometimes I watch it and I like to be able to say, well, it's this
Right.
that is missing, but I can't.
You think
but I know it's missing something because the talent, the roster is great, it's as good as any.
Right. Exactly.
But it's, I don't know, it's missing something.
Do you think the booking's bad there at all? I mean...
No, some of the storylines are good. It's just, I don't know.
All right.
If I ever remember, I'll call you and tell you, but...
Has Carlito ever had any discussions about going to TNA at all during his time away?
No, he never showed any interest. I asked him, he said,
Right. No. Do you follow MMA at all? Do you watch any...
a little bit. It's not enough action for me.
Do you think UFC has hurt the wrestling business?
No, I don't think so. No. It's 2 different things.
2 different animals?
Yeah.
Where do you see the wrestling business in the next 5 years? Do you think it's going to come back? Right now, obviously, it's a down period, and the business goes up and down in cycles.
It'll come up again, yeah, right, yeah. Wrestling goes in cycles.
Who do you think the next big star is out there? Obviously, right now, John Cena's the top guy, and Randy Orton's... Who do you think is the next John Cena, the next Hulk Hogan?
I don't know to that level, but Randy Orton is a tremendous performer. He's great.
Besides your family members, who are some guys that you like to watch on TV? Who are you a fan of today in the business?
I like Randy. He's good
for their work and all.
He reminds me of our times.
Right. You also another guy I didn't mention, Mr. Pogo. He came into the company.
Pogo, he drew big money for us.
And Kendo Nagasaki.
Kendo, yeah.
What are your memories of working with those two guys?
Good.
Good guys.
Good guy, yeah.
In closing, I don't have any other questions. Do you have any questions you might want to ask?
No.
All right. In closing, is there anything you want to say to your fans out there that you never had the chance to say to until now?
Well, to keep supporting wrestling, and it's a good form of entertainment, and we need them. The sport needs them to continue and to come back up to the level that it was in my country as well as in the States.
Right.
And all over the world,
Well, definitely, we want to thank you for being here today for this interview, and hopefully we'll be doing another one in another 10 years or something with you. So,
always a pleasure.
Thanks again. Thank you.
Thank you.
You want to hear about the Brody thing? Here we go. Okay. So we were in a little spot show on Friday night, and Victor Quiones, Jose Gonzalez, and Brody come in Victor's Mercedes. And they parked on the inside of the ball field. And me and Spivey and a couple other guys and Dan were sitting in the dugout, because you use the dugouts where you go out to the ring. And we were sitting in there, and Brody it was his first night in the territory, had walked by him and Jose, and Brody turned to me, and since nobody understood English, he says, "I heard your wife's here." I says, "Yeah, Donna's here." I says, "So are the girls." He said, "Hey, look," he says, "we'll have to get together for a drink or for dinner or something." I said, "Okay." I says, "How you doing?" I says, "How's, Barbara, fine, Jeff, everybody's fine." That's good. I said, "Okay, big man." I says, "I'll get a hold of you." He says, "Okay, I'll get a hold of you too." Boom, he goes in the other dressing room. So Saturday, we had a whole bunch of things to do because we had a big Bam on show. So there was no way that Brosier or none of us could get together. Well, I find out on the Big Bam show that Dutch is coming in to work against me, and him and Tony Atlas are going to work against me and Dan Crawford, which we knew about that a week before, but Dutch hadn't got in until that day. And so it was kind of okay, good, this is going to be fun, whatever. And so anyhow, we go into Bam-On, and you always got there early because Bam-On was such a bear to get into with all the people trying to get in and everything. And we're sitting in the dressing room, and I'll tell you who was in the dressing room with me. It was Abby was in there, Spivey, Sika the Samoans, myself, Crawford, and a couple of the Puerto Rican guys. Chiqui Star, Hercules, Ayala, we were all sitting in there. And we're sitting there, and all of a sudden, one of the referees comes over, Miguel, and they start talking to the other referee, and hurried talk, like, what the hell's going on? So Chiqui had gone up to listen to the conversation, and they had walked away. So when Chiqui come back, I said, "Hey, Chiqui, what's going on?" She says, "I don't know, something's going on, but I don't know what it is." I said, "Oh, okay." Well, a little while later, we heard an ambulance. I thought, fucking ambulance. Somebody must have got shot, or Puerto Rico happens every day, So the referee comes back in, they're in a conversation again. So Chiqui goes over and just butts in and says, "Hey, what's going on?" So after they leave, Chiqui comes over and asks, "Chiqui, well, there were all of us were sitting there. I said, "Chiqui, what's going on?" He says, "Oh, they said that one of the wrestlers tripped in the dressing room and got cut on the porcelain sink, and they took him to the hospital." I said, "Well, who was that?" I was worried it was either Dutch or Tony or one of us,
Right.
And she says, "Oh, they didn't say who it was." And I says, "That's awful fine. They didn't say who it was." So a little while later, Ron Starr was in the dressing room too. So a little while later, they come back again and they start talking again. Chiqui goes over and listens again. Chiqui comes over and says, "Hey, it was Brody." They said that Brody got in a fight in the dressing room and that he fell against the porcelain sink and cut himself. I said, "Wait a minute. Big man get in a fight and fall against the porcelain sink and cut himself? Bullshit. Because the big man can fight. you know. So I says, Cheeky, tell them we want to know what in the hell's going on now. By now, everybody, all the guys in just, not just me, everybody wanted to know what was going on. So we went out to the dugout down below and looked across to the heel babyface side, and I looked over there, and Dutch was signaling me something, and I couldn't figure out what he was signaling me. And I thought, what the hell's going on? And then there was Dutch and just a couple other guys in the dugout. Excuse me. And I thought, So me and Dan go back up into the dressing room, and we're sitting there. Finally, Mateo comes over again. When he comes over again, I said, Cheeky, I said, you asked this piece of shit, what the hell's going on? I said, something's going on that we don't know about. And so then that's when they said that Brody had been stabbed, but they said he had been stabbed by a fan. And I thought, well, why would they stab a baby face? You know? So I didn't think nothing of it. So we went to the ring. The match, we were like the third match. They put us on the third match. And Ron Starr was to wrestle against Jose Gonzalez that night, which he did wrestle against Jose. Jose wrestled him. Well, we went out in our match, and we got in our match. Tony Atlas just looked bad. You know what I mean? And Dutch looked physically shaken. And so we were sitting there getting the referee's instructions, and I says, what the hell's going on, guys? And Dutch looked me right in the eye, and he says, Jose stabbed Brody. I said, what? He said, Jose stabbed Brody, and Brody's in bad shape. I said, you're kidding me. Well, by now, the referee heard me and Dutch talking, and he tried to split it up. So when we started the match, it was me and Tony Atlas. And Tony Atlas and I locked up, and Tony got a headlock and took me down. And when he took me down, he says, Frank's in trouble. I said, what do you mean? He says, Bobby, when I took his boots off, his feet were blue. Well, anybody that knows anything about that means he's lost a lot of blood. And I said, where's he at? They said, well, it took 45 minutes to get an ambulance, but they got him to the hospital. He said, I had to carry him out to the ambulance. I said, oh, Jesus Christ. So anyhow, we probably didn't go 10 minutes. And we got done. I went right back in the dressing room. I told all the guys in the dressing room. I said, look, Brody got stabbed by Jose. That is from Tony and Dutch. And boy, I mean, right away, everybody, Abby turned white. Believe it or not, Abby turned white. Ron Starr said, if I got to work with Jose, check him for blades. And I'm not talking about razor blades, check him for blades. So we went, and I got right after I got showered and everything, I went back to my condo. And Dan come over with his girlfriend, and a couple of the other American guys come over to my condo. And we started talking. And I said, look, where was Frank staying? They said, well, he was staying down in the Condado. And I said, okay. I said, I got to go down there. So I went down to the Condado, and Frank always carried a briefcase. I don't know if you ever knew that, but he always carried a briefcase. In that briefcase, Frank kept everything. His bank statements, his books. I mean, he worked, it was like a work briefcase. Everything. If he had pot in there. Drugs, whatever. I got the briefcase, took it back to my place, and in the ventilation vent of my condo, I put it in there. Because I wanted to make sure that it went to Barbara. I didn't want those people to get a hold of it. Because we thought right away, that there was something pretty bad going on. So I went down to the bar with Dutch, not Dutch, but with Ron Starr and Sika, and we waited. And they called us at about, I guess it was about 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning to say that he'd passed. And when he passed, they called us, and I told them, I asked them, I said, what did he die from? They said he had a ruptured liver. His liver was cut, and they couldn't stop the bleeding. So I went back to the condo, and I said, look, I told my wife was worried, because, she'd known Frank since we got married. And I told her, I says, Frank's died. I says, we don't know what's going on. I says, I think the best thing for you and the girls is to get off this goddamn rock tonight. So she said, okay. So we packed all the girls and her stuff up while the girls slept. And I called the airport. 6:30 in the morning, they were on the first plane out of Puerto Rico. Well, we all went down afterwards to the hotel where everybody was staying. They had a big show booked in Mayahuez that Sunday. It was sold out. And the Puerto Rican wrestlers, the American wrestlers got together in the hotel, and we said, bullshit, we're not going. You know, this is bullshit to kill somebody in this goddamn business. And what it was over taxes, because Frank would not pay their bullshit taxes. Okay? So don't let it go around that it was over anything else. It was over the goddamn bullshit taxes. But to make a long story short, we got in the hotel. We all decided not to go. The Puerto Rican boys stood with the American boys. Castillo Jr., Miguel Perez, Cheeky Star, TNT, everybody stuck together. And they finally figured out that they had a problem. The cops came to the hotel. We called the cops to the hotel, the investigator. We said, we want this sumbitch prosecuted. Has there any witnesses? Tony says, I'm a witness, but I'm scared. Sika stood up and says, I'll go with you, brother. And the cop looked at Sika and says, I don't think anybody's going to mess with him. So Sika went with Tony to make his statement, and the Youngbloods to make their statement.
They actually saw it?
They saw it, yeah. They were right there. It happened in a shower room with the door closed, but they were right there when Brody staggered out and Jose tried to cut his throat. And they know who took the knife and got rid of the knife. Right, Victor Jovica? Who got rid of the knife? Anything else you want to know about it? And believe me, ain't one of them Puerto Rican son of a bitches that can do a goddamn thing to me today. Because I live that goddamn hell all the time.
What are your thoughts of the guys that went back to work for the company?
They had nowhere else to go. I worked there. Do you think any of these guys up in the north of the United States, all these tough son of bitches that were going to go down there and revenge Brody and shit that never got on an airplane, do you think that they would have gave us a job? Shit, no. They didn't care. They like hearing their goddamn voice, but they didn't do a damn thing. At least the guys that stayed there tried to do something. We tried to get justice. We had no support. All these goddamn promoters and shit back here turned their back on everybody. You know why? Frank Brody was out for Frank Brody. But Frank was a truthful man. And I'm not saying Frank was the greatest guy in the world, because believe me, Frank could be a prick. But you had to respect him. And the promoters didn't like him because he stuck up for himself. So they left him out to hang. The only reason is Jose was jealous. Number one, Brody was over more than he was. Number two, Brody was always going to be over more than he was. Number three was, Brody wouldn't listen to him when he thought he was a big man in Puerto Rico and pay his goddamn taxes. He told him to go to hell and jam him up his ass. He told all three of them that. Jovica, Colon, and Jose.
Right. You were there the night that...
Yeah, that tragic night. Yeah.
What are your memories of what happened?
Well, it's something that never gonna be out of my head, because it's something that, I mean, you got a friend got stabbed, you know. I remember I always arrived. The matches was starting at 8:30. The guys arrived there sometimes 7 o'clock, 7:30, something like that. I always was there earlier, always by 5:30, 6 o'clock, because I was already in the dressing room, getting my corner nice, fresh in myself. Then I start doing the paint, and I remember the invader called Frank to the showers to talk to him. Hey, you know, all the time, you know, you call the guy, hey, I need to talk to you. Everything was kayfabe, big time by that time. I mean, big time. And then that guy happened, man. I mean, I remember Frank was in Puerto Rico for 4 days, 5 days. I remember it was 4 days that we worked, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Then the Sunday was canceled, of course. And they took him out of the building in the stretcher, and he was alive. He was talking, and they took him to the operation room. And next day, I hear he was bleed. Probably cut something.
What is your understanding of what exactly happened between them two? I hear different stories.
Oh, imagine how many I hear. I hear the Frank wasn't a good people. The Frank got him better one time in New York and beat the hell out of him. That he changed finish here. That he hit it with a chair. The arguments. That he told Frank a few times, "Don't come in shorts." I mean, he's coming from the States to an island, so of course, when you go there, the first thing you're thinking is party. Hey, So he went over there to work and make some money, and I hear that. But in one point, I mean, he was a booker. They probably have something like you hear too. A lot of people, they have something going on before. And Invader probably had that in his head all the time, hammer him, and phew, I mean, that took the business and the company all the way to the bottom, big time.
Did you think that was going to be it for Capitol?
Oh yeah, at one point was, that was first page news. Wrestler died by other one, blah 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 blah. The trial after I don't have the how many months later, but the trial was pretty good. They canceled the trial so many times because they can get to the John Bloods, they can get to Dodge, they can get to Tony Atlas. Too much bullshit, and the point in where the only people that went to testify was Carlos Jovica and me.
Right.
And of course, I'm not gonna change. I never change, and I never will change my side of the story. What the police asked me the night of what happened, and when you go into court, they give you the paper. Hey, remember you say this, the prosecutor. I read everything. Yeah, I remember all this. So, well, I'm going to ask you the same. Go ahead. You ask me, I answer what I see. What I don't see, I can, of course, I'm not going to I'm not going to get myself in trouble. So we talk, and I remember the prosecutor making, the questions about what clothing he have and stuff like that. His lawyer was asking me a few stuff too. And I finished. I remember one of the times that we went there, I got probably mentally I was getting, that stuff there, to be there, to leave that moment, make you think a lot of stuff. I come in one time from Ponce area by myself, and I was in Plaza Las Americas turning to going home, and here come this song in the radio. Oh, what's the CD or something like that? Whatever. The point was, I just start crying. I was holding that inside of me, and I start crying. I went from the left lane coming out of the exit to the right lane, all the way to the shoulder. I didn't even stop. I didn't even look back. I can't even see. I was was crying big time. I put to the side and start crying. Then I come down, talk to my wife by that time by the phone, and she said, "Calm down, blah blah." Then I drove home, and all right. One of the time that I want to say this, I was in the trial. They canceled the trial. Was about noon. I remember. They canceled the trial in the morning. It was about noon when I arrived at my house. Was hot. Puerto Rico was hot. I remember I was cold, big time, and I was shaking. probably mentally exhausted because what happened and all that stupid stuff. I remember I was in my bed with the blankets covering me because I was cold. I feel cold and I was shaking, whatever. My wife was scared. But later, I fell asleep and wake up okay. Of course, Invader when they found him no guilty, And then later, one time, I was with Cheeky. We promoting the other company that I left with Hugo, and this guy, the DJ, he started asking us questions, and the same thing. What happened? What do you think? And I say the same thing. Yeah, something happened between these two, and of course, the story is that Brody have the knife, the Invader have the knife, the towel, and so many stupid stuff. And Invader sued me for $1 million because I say in the radio that he killed Brody, and I said, well, that never went nowhere. I said, well, I say what I see. I cannot change I wish I could change the story, on that night or that afternoon. And but after that, I didn't even talk to Invader. After I left the company, I didn't even talk to him in, years.
Very intelligent man.
All right.
Very intelligent. See, I didn't know Bruiser that well. See, I met him in San Antonio whenever I went down there for I only went down there for like a month or so. I met him there, met his wife, and then I met him here in Puerto Rico. So, and I've been asked about this so many times, what happened to Bruiser Brody, what happened to him here? And the answer to that, and I'm not dodging and I'm not ducking, but I don't know what happened. I don't know what caused it. I don't know what preceded it. So let's start back from the beginning. I met him here, and I remember I told him that we used to stay. This is where we're sitting at right now. It's called East Laverde. It's right next to the airport. And there's another tour section down the ways a little bit. It's called Condado. And I had a nice hotel set up down there, and they give the wrestlers a discount rate or whatever. And it's a nice place. And I remember me and Tony Atlas and Brody, we were staying there because I told them about it. And the only time I ever talked to Brody at length, really about a lot of things, even not just talked to him for more than like 5 minutes, was the day all this happened. And we was down in a hotel lobby. I was waiting for Atlas. Atlas had a guy from the gym who was a big fan. He was going to take us to the match. So it was me and Brody and Atlas, and we went to the stadium that day. And very unfortunate what happened. And I have written an account of this. It's on the internet. It's probably be on the internet till the end of time anyway. And do you remember maybe 2 months ago?
There was a report.
There was a report
in a Japanese magazine.
In a Japanese magazine that I had said, or that I had been quoted as doing this interview, which I never did an interview. I don't know who this guy is, a Japanese guy. That he said, that I said, that Carlos Colon and Victor Jovica had paid a bribe of $225,000 to conceal evidence in the Bruiser Brody murder case, which is just an out-and-out lie. It never happened. I never did an interview. I never said anything like that. And even if I did say anything like that, first of all, if anybody knows Victor Jovica, that tight son of a bitch, he wouldn't give $225,000 for himself, let alone somebody else. And the only other erroneous part of that is to conceal evidence in the case in which there was no evidence to conceal. The dispute was not over did he do it, it's why he did it.
Right.
See, he admitted doing it. The Invader admitted he was the cause of it.
Do you think it has anything to do with money laundering? Or?
No.
No.
Nah, shit, no. It had nothing to do with that. Was that a rumor?
I heard that was one of
It
them.
was like a million rumors.
Nah.
In your heart, what do you believe? What do you
I
think?
believe in my heart that Brody and Invader had trouble previously. but it was like forgotten.
What kind of trouble?
Well, Brody beat him up in the ring,
Right.
you know. But see, Brody beat a lot of people up in the ring, you know. That was the way he worked. You know, he just beat the dog shit out of you. Which is why I sort of like wrestling, because, you know, somebody beats the shit out of you, but hell, just give up, just quit.
Right.
You know, but I don't know if that was the problem, but I think Brody had bought into this company. You know, Gorilla Monsoon, I think, had owned some stock here at one time.
Right.
And somehow Victor Quiones was involved in this, that he took the stock from Monsoon, and I think Victor Quiones and Bruiser Brody were like big buddies. And what I think happened, and I can't confirm this, but I think Brody had somehow had a percentage of this company here in Puerto Rico. And the Invader was in a position to where he was in a, like either a booking position or he owned part of the company or something. And that's where the clash came. So, to me, it was a very, I don't know what, no, then again, I don't know why it happened. I'm just sorry that it did happen. A very unfortunate day, very tragic day, and I think probably the most infamous day in the history of wrestling.
Is it hard coming back here to work for the same promotion and see the guy in the dressing room that stabbed Brody?
Well, see, then again, I don't know why it happened.
Right.
You know? Basically, I have very little to do with the guy.
Right.
If I don't have business with him, I just don't see him.
Right.
See, I'm in one dressing room, he's in the other dressing room. See, the way it's... See, I do my thing, he does just... I don't wrestle him.
Right.
I don't wrestle him.
So is that one of the rules that you won't work with him, or?
That's my rule.
Right.
It's not my rule that I won't work with him. It's my rule that I prefer.
Right.
You know, and they understand that, you know.
How hard was that for you when you heard about that?
That when I first heard about it, I was leaving Tokyo, Japan to go to Okinawa. We were in the airport in Tokyo, and Sawatori, who I knew as the manager of Killer Khan when I started in Florida.
Right.
And I had great matches with Killer Khan and Hattori. And Hattori would come up to me, and you got to remember, Japanese people don't say everything right out.
Right.
So he comes up to me and he said, Manny-san, Bruiser Brody gone. I said, okay, cool. And I said, no, Manny-san, Bruiser Brody gone. I said, Hattori, cool. Gone where?
Right.
Oh, no, Manny-san, gone. I said, dude, what are you trying to tell me? What do you mean, gone? Oh, Puerto Rico. Jose Gonzalez. I said, are you talking about dead? He said, yeah, gone. And I was stunned. I was like, no way, dude. You got to be either joking,
Right.
which is a horrible joke, stupid joke. I said, no, this just can't happen. I mean, this isn't going on. So it shocked me
Right.
that he would tell me, and the way I was told to it, you know, that he's gone.
Right.
I was like, okay, he's gone. I didn't know he was telling me that he was dead.
Steve wants to know the difference between Carlos Invader and Victor Javica.
They're all the same.
We're all the same.
You got one white, you got one Puerto Rican, and you got another Puerto Rican who's the same.
You still friendly with Victor at all?
Sure. I got nothing against nobody.
Right. How hard was it for you to go back there after the whole Brody thing? Was it like kind of hard to go back, or? Because I know for a while you didn't want to go back to the island.
Who told you that?
It's just Victor. We're good friends with
Just
Victor.
in the magazines too.
We talked to a lot of people.
That's news to me.
Now Victor was telling us, we went down there a couple times, and he says, you know, that you didn't want to go back after that whole incident, but eventually you went back. Were you nervous at all, or no?
Nervous about what?
Just in case.
Case what?
Any funny business were to go on down there?
What kind of funny business?
That was all personal.
Well, what happened?
Just with the whole incident with that
With Brody
in the shower.
And
Oh, I don't know nothing about that.
All right.
It must be something what you know and I don't know. What happened?
I heard a lot of different things. You want to say, or no?
No, I don't know what happened. You know, you're saying.
The story that I heard,
there's two different stories.
I heard that back in the 70s when Brody was working for Vince Sr., I guess Invader was up there doing jobs or whatever, and Brody was a bully or took liberties with him in the ring. Also, I guess when it came time to work down in Puerto Rico, now, you know, Invader had power down there. And
He had the buck.
Right. I guess it was...
And Brody was going to stand up to him and
Invader felt that I got to stand up for myself.
And then one thing
Things led to another, and Brody was going to punk him in front of all the locker room.
That's
The buildings around here, so I don't know. Wherever you see
I want to
any-
eat someplace.
Where?
Give me a decent place, please.
Okay.
There's got to be a Chinese restaurant around
I'm
here.
not on no Chinese for food.
Really?
Well, like
Ain't you got a
diner.
steak or something or what?
We'll drive. We'll find something.
Please don't take me in the ghetto.
There's McDonald's. No.
You got any smoked meat around here?
What are your thoughts on the Bruiser Brody murder?
I don't know if I want to go there.
We just did an interview with Savio Vega. He told us his whole entire take on it. And
Right. Like I say, I wasn't there. I only know what people have told me. Brody was a buddy of mine. Jose was a semi-buddy of mine. And in no way am I defending Jose, okay? No way am I defending, because what happened was wrong. But being in the office, Jose used to not beg, but plead. Please don't book me with Brody. He hurts me. He hurts me. He hurts me. Numerous times I have seen whelps on Jose that where Brody hit him with a boot, hit him with a chair, and bruises and whelps the next day. Brody laughing to me about it. But you have to, that's Jose's part there, and you have to understand that's Bruiser Brody's style, is to knock the shit out of you. The old style where you make it look real. Jose didn't like that. Why the two couldn't have got together and said, hey, you're hurting me. Let's don't do this. Let's don't do that. I don't know. A lot of people didn't like to work with Brody because of that reason, because he was a tough son of a gun. And he was a tough son of a gun in wrestling, and if God help you if you had to fight him in the street, because you would have, I don't know if you could have stopped him, but that was Brody's style. That style had sold out St. Louis and Kansas City and Texas, and so there's more to the story of Brody and Gonzalez than that night. This is something that built and built and built and built, and happened in a very, if it happened the way I heard it happen from somebody, happened in a very chicken shittish way, Jose. But I wasn't there, so it's hard to comment on it. But I know it wasn't just that night, because I'm talking 2 years. I hadn't been there for 2 years when then this happened. So this is something that had built up over the years.
Did you ever hear anything about when I guess they were working for Vince Sr. when Jose came in to do jobs that he worked a little bit with Frank back then, and same stuff happened back then?
No.
Okay.
No. Wasn't there. Never worked for Vince.
Okay.
Right.
For Carlos and Victor, what are your memories of that promotion down there in Puerto Rico?
Well, my best memory is Brody walking in the shower and coming out with his guts hanging out.
Oh, I'm going to talk all about that.
That's my best memory of Puerto Rico, of him getting stabbed to death there,
What exactly happened in your... We've done interviews with Savio Vega. I've done interviews with Dutch Mantel and a couple other guys that were in the locker room at the point in time when it happened. Bobby Jaggers talked to us. What is your view on what happened with... Bruce
I don't have a view.
You know what happened.
I don't have a view. Well, Brody was sitting there on the steps of the Tanamount. And I came out and I asked Brody, I said, "Do you need a ride?" He said, "Well, Jose's supposed to pick me up." They rode together the night before. Then I said, "Well, you can ride with us if you want." And I had a buddy that works at the gym. They call it the Monster Factory. So him and his wife came to pick me up, and Brody, myself, and Dutch Mantel, we got into the car. Me and Dutch sat in the back, and Brody and
Brody sat up front, and my buddy wife sat in between Brody and him. We got to the building. I was sitting there. I was doing a portrait of Mark and Jay Youngblood. And Brody come over and said, "Oh, that's good, Tony. I didn't know you could draw like that. That looked just like them guys." He said, "Can you do a picture of my kid for me?" So I said, "Yeah, give me a picture of your kid." When I said that, Jose came by and said, "Brody, can I see you?" So they went in the shower. They walked in the shower. All I hear was, "Huh, huh." So I jumped up because I was about as far from here to you from the shower. I dropped my art pad. And I saw Brody bending over holding his stomach. Jose had a knife like this. Carlos Colon cut in front of me, grabbed Jose by the arm, pushed Jose up against the wall, said, "No, Jose, no, Jose." Jose come down with the knife, cut Brody's ponytail off. I pulled Brody out of the shower. I laid him down on the floor. Now, we waited for the ambulance. Now, as I was there waiting for the ambulance, the thing that shocked me the most was the guys getting dressed for the show. That was the most shocking thing to me. So then the guy couldn't lift Brody. He said, "Can anybody help me lift him?" And I said, "I can lift him." So I go to pick up Brody. Brody said, Don't drop me, brother." I said, "Brother, I curl more than what you weigh." So I set him in the thing. And the man said, if somebody want to go with him, they can go with him. So I got on the ambulance, and I figured as I jumped on the ambulance that I couldn't, I don't speak Spanish. So I have a buddy of mine that spoke Spanish. I reached out the car. I was pretty powerful back in my young days. I grabbed him by the back of his shirt, and I drug him in the ambulance until he was able to pull himself in the ambulance. I went to the hospital. So I sat there with Brody for a while, and the doctor finally came in and looked at it, and I sat there while they took me in the operating room. So the guy come back out and said, "We got him stable." So then I left and went back to the building. When I walk into the building, all I hear was laughing and joking, patting each other on the back, talking about what a great match they had, how wonderful this was, how wonderful that is. And I'm standing at the door. I said, "A man just got stabbed in here," and everybody's acting like nothing happened. So this policeman's coming over, and he said, "It's a shame what happened to your friend." I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Did y'all get a look at it?" I said, "Look at who?" And they said, "The fan that did it." I said, "Didn't no fan stab that man?" He said, "Well, who stabbed him?" I said, "That man sitting right there." He said, "You mean Vader?" I said, "Yeah, he the one that stabbed him." So then one thing led to another, and so the police went around and asked other people what did they see. Everybody in the dressing room was bland. Nobody saw nothing but Tony Atlas. That's why every time Brody name come up, who name come up with it? Because I was the only one that spoke up for him. And in many people that supposed to be his friend, he couldn't find one person to speak up for him that night. I was the only person to speak up for that man that night, and I'm the one that got all the blame for it and everything for sticking my nose in it. So I was married to a Puerto Rican girl at the time, so I called her and told her what happened. And she said, "Well, I sure hope you keep your mouth shut and not say nothing." I said, "Well, it's too late. I just told the police what happened." She said, "Well, you better get the hell out of there." So the next day, Abdullah called a meeting. So he said, "Well," Abdullah said, "Well, I can't go down there. Because the heel and Babyface didn't dress together." He said, "You got to go, Tony." He said, "Because I didn't see what happened." He said, he said, "You guys the only one that saw what happened." So I said, "I go down if somebody go down with me." So Sika said, "I go with you." So
to the police station you're talking
about? To the police station,
okay.
Yeah. So Sika took me down, walked down to the police station. So I told him what happened. When I got back to the dressing room, Sabio Vega said, "You better leave, Tony, because you're running your mouth and they're coming after you." So I went to the airport, sat at the airport all night, caught the next flight out the next day.
Did you ever go back to the island?
I went back about 2 months ago for his anniversary show.
What was that like?
A little nervous. But they told me that they're going to contact me for the trial. I never hear any more about it.
Why do you think Jose got off?
Was no witnesses. I was the only person that would speak up, and that when I didn't show up, that was pretty much the end of it.
Why do you think they never called you to testify? Do you think they paid off, or?
I think they didn't want me getting killed. I would have never testified. You know that.
Right.
How far do you think I would have made it to that courthouse?
You would have been killed.
I would have been killed. And I don't think the cop wanted another death on the hand. I wouldn't be here telling the story if I went back there.
Did you ever run into the invader again, Jose?
Oh, yeah. But that wasn't between me and it was just I saw something. Like if I see something happen to you, you know, like I said, I'm from the hills of Virginia. And us old Virginia bridge runners, I just can't sit back and watch something happen to you and then sit back and, you know, and not say nothing about it or act like I don't know what's going on. I can't do that. It's not in me. I wasn't raised that way.
What did Invader say to you when you guys ran into each other again?
Nothing.
Totally quiet.
Yeah, it was like, you know, we just talk about old age, talk about wrestling, you know.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a crazy story.
Yeah.
Huh. Did other guys, did you ever like look it down on them for going back? Like I know a lot of guys said they weren't going to go back and work for the territory, and
no,
a lot of guys went back.
No, because that's the wrestling business.
Right.
You don't have friends in wrestling; you have business associates. If you leave this business, you got 2 friends or 1 friend. Consider yourself lucky. Wrestlers have never been each other's friends. We've been each other's business associates.
It's true.
You know. And if we could cut one of the other guy's throat and cost him his career, we'd do it in a heartbeat.
Do you want to say anything else about the Bruiser Brody murder? Or?
No. I just wish that it never happened. That's, you know, it was a horrible thing. And what it did, it destroyed everything we loved about Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico was like a paid vacation. And there were so many wonderful, wonderful memories for many, many wrestlers. So many great stars got their career there. And when that incident happened, it just took it all away.
Why do you think the incident even happened in the first place? I mean, I've heard different stories what the reasoning was. What did you hear?
Nobody even know.
Okay.
It'd be very hard to speculate, you know, because what happened between them two, the only one we really know is Jose and Brody.
Okay.
There was no argument or nothing.
Right.
There was nothing. He walked in. Jose said, "Can I talk to you?" Brody said, "Yeah." He walked in the shower. He got stabbed. It was just that simple. There was no argument, no fussing, no shouting, no nothing. There was nothing to show why or where or when. It was just
crazy.
Yeah.